My husband looked at and actually had 2 or 3 other providers doing physical therapy before we landed on Makovicka. I guess just to say it eloquently, he didn't have the best or most positive experience. And we had driven past Makovicka probably thousands of times. There's locations all over the city, and there's one in particular that's right by my daughter's school. And I think he just thought for convenience that he would try that. He was super impressed with Makovicka the first time that he even had a physical therapy appointment. And then the continuity that he experienced was far better. He had the same therapist, and even if that therapist was busy, the other people assisting had his charts. They knew exactly where to pick up and where to help out, and so he could get in and get out in a very kind of painless way. Typically, insurance is a nightmare, but this was actually a very nice experience. They were able to do the kind of pre-diagnostics to make sure that I was covered under insurance, and that I could see very easily that my provider was covered, and that I knew up front what the costs were, so that there weren't any surprises. We are able to either call and make appointments in advance, which is nice for my husband and I with our busy meeting schedules, so that we know when we can come. But at the same time, if my daughter needs to get in right after school and she actually has a time available that day, I could just call sometimes and say, hey, do you have an appointment? And she could just walk right over from school. It was very nice. When I needed a therapist and my daughters needed a therapist, it was just kind of a natural fit for us that we would go with Makovicka. I feel like they were very attentive and very patient, and they also did a good job making my kids and myself feel very comfortable. So from the very first consultation, if you will, they walked us back to a room. They let me stay, which made my kids feel comfortable. They walked them through a series of tests to help diagnose what the problem was, and I feel like they did a great job of communicating to the girls what was the issue and what they were going to do to correct it. So then they felt very comfortable in the process, and I felt like I knew what was going on and could anticipate, how long it would take for them to get recovery, and that they were in good hands.
I had tendinitis, Osgood Schlatter's in my knee, and then both knees. I liked going to physical therapy because if I was hurting, as soon as I left, I'd feel better instantly, and I'd be able to go to dance or do whatever else I needed to do without being in pain.
So I was on a stationary bike, and I tried to stop the pedals with my bare foot, and it just scratched up my foot really bad and damaged the tissue. Dan helped me a lot by, he gave me the exercises to do, and it just made my foot feel a lot better, and I was back at my activities sooner than I ever thought I would.
My therapist, Dan, he's family to us. I've worked with him for about 3 years now, and no matter what, he can always make me feel better because he's just awesome like that.
Both my children were back at it and in all their activities very, very rapidly. I was very pleased with that. Everybody there was very professional, very polite. They're very respectful of our time and of my children and my husband and my needs. They were super easy to work with and very flexible. And I personally think that having a consistent therapist and a group of people that acted like a team and knew what was expected and what I needed to do to recover made it a much easier and better experience when I was trying to get through my sprained knees.